Join us for an enlightening experience where you will gain a deeper understanding of the purpose and essence of opening your eyes. This is your chance to enhance self-awareness and personal growth with a shift in perception that provides a fresh outlook on life. Embrace the journey from consciousness to superconsciousness by Barrett Kunyan.
Well, here we are again, and we have a beautiful soul brother in our bioactivation studio. His name is Adrian. Welcome, Adrian. It's a real privilege, honor to have you in our show. I really got to know you reference to your beautiful partner, Lisa, who visited us not that long ago here in Bulgaria. So we got a bit of an insight to you as a person. And I must say, I was really taken by what Lisa said about you as a person. So I'll give you the opportunity to tell our viewers who you really are in terms of the kind of comeback that you've made, recovery, shall we say, from a very difficult illness that you went through. But before I hand over the mic, can you just introduce yourself, your beautiful energy, to our viewers out there, a little bit about Adrian, because you really are an amazing guy. Thank you for showing up.
Oh, bless you. Thank you for asking. Okay, well, my name's Adrian. I was born near Leeds in West Yorkshire. So anyone that's not from the UK that's watching this, way up north in England, born to working class parents who had a really interesting life. They themselves had a pub business from the age of 8. I was raised above this pub, and I was very fortunate, in my opinion, to be around entrepreneurs, free thinkers, religious people, spiritual people, everyone. So my education really was working with my dad from a young age, which I always advocate, if you've got kids, take them to work. I left West Yorkshire at 18, moved to London, went to theatre school and trained to be a stage manager, which had a really great career working backstage in theatres. And then I stopped doing that and built my own pub company. Just had a really varied career in my previous life as such. And now I work with all sorts of people, helping them build businesses, helping them grow out the skin and have the confidence to really go for what they want.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. Thank you for that. We touched on not that long ago, and Lisa gave me a little insight to something that happened 2020. Can you give a little bit of exposure, the impact it had, the severity of what you were going through?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am the sort of person who has always worked very hard. Being brought up with the sort of parents I had, it was work, work, work. And I'd been through sort of 4 or 5 episodes of trauma, personal emotional trauma, over about 15 years. And generally, in my opinion, what generally tends to happen is if you trap emotions and stress, plus I was working at least 18 hours a day and not sleeping great, then you can guess what's going to happen. So I got poorly. I remember waking up one morning. It was a Friday morning. It was in February 2020, and it felt like I had 5 very heavy wrestlers sat on my back. I couldn't get up. It was almost like there was an energy saying, stop.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. Anyway, I got out of bed and I collapsed, and I was found about half an hour later, because at the time I was actually running a retail property, a pub property, one of my properties at the time. And the cleaning staff had turned up. Thankfully, I gave them the key, and they found me. Went to the hospital, they ran tests, and they said that I was in the early stages of prostate cancer. So that is kind of, that takes us to the kind of diagnosis, really.
Yeah. And how did you manage to remedy a lot of that, being in that traumatic situation of the uncertainty of that impact that you were under, the pressure?
Well, I've got one of these personalities where I'm very good in a crisis. Sometimes I can get sort of a little bit stressed about things that don't really matter. So actually, I took it quite calmly. But what really put me into a state of real deep contemplation was that the doctors involved, and they were very, very keen, even pushy and arrogant, making the assumption that I would just walk straight to chemotherapy. And this raised deep concerns with me. I was just like, well, I've not made my mind up yet. And they were very, very, they were shocked that I just didn't sign on the dotted line immediately.
Yeah.
So I started to ask them what I thought were sensible questions. They call them awkward questions. And so this dialogue went on for about 2 hours. And I said, I'm not very comfortable with this. I'd like, I'm going to take 72 hours and I'm going to go away. I'm going to think about it, then I'm going to come back. And they said, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
So after really giving it some deep thought, I went back and I accepted. I had surgery. I had some surgery. And then I says, thank you for your kind offer, but I'm going to turn down the chemotherapy. And their attitude couldn't have been, I won't say aggressive, just very unkind and very, they were like, what? What do you mean? That's crazy. That's insane. I just said, I just don't like how you're trying to push me into something that I don't feel comfortable with. So that was that. So I had the surgery.
Yeah.
So they removed what they had to remove, and that's fine. And then thankfully, a friend of mine said, why don't you come and stay with me? Come and stay with me for a month. This is gets quite comical now. Come and stay with me for a month. It's a big house. Look after the dogs with me. Don't worry about anything. You'll be fine. So bearing in mind, this is February 2020. In March 2020, the UK goes into lockdown.
Yeah.
Now, I'd had my surgery, so that's all good. So there was no problem with the hospital. And so March turns into April. And we were talking a lot about the work of Joe Dispenza. And she said, why don't you just have a listen to this this meditation? So I did, and it set off a chain reaction of a whole new thought process, a whole new way of thinking for me. My life just opened up.
Yeah.
I started to meditate 3 times a day. So I did a morning meditation for an hour, which is quite intense when you start. I did a present moment meditation at lunchtime, and I did a guided evening meditation in the evening. I also did some Wim Hof breathing technique exercises to get more oxygen in me. We took the television off the wall. We got rid of the radio. We had no more newspapers. We removed the media. Anything toxic, anything poisonous, gone.
Wow.
So I embarked on this intense program of meditation, clean eating, water only, and just really got to work. So, like I said before, I've got a very, very busy work ethic. So I just really hit it hard. And the first month was very difficult, and then it just got easier and easier and easier.
Yeah.
In late July or middle of July, the same year, I got the all clear.
Excellent. It's mind over matter, isn't it? Really, it's you and the discipline behind it as well.
Yeah.
And the timing of it, and the fact that you had that willpower as well to resist, in as far as, like, most people under duress, the trauma of knowing that it's developing or has gone to a bit cancerous, shall we say, to say no, there is an alternative to the chemo, because most people, coin has both two sides,
Absolutely.
so and well done to you. I mean, now I consider you an amazing role model, really. I mean, you can play a very active role in your presence, because you're a very powerful instrument in as far as being a kind of guide, if you will, helping others in the because your background, you from what I understand, you do enjoy interacting with people and helping people from all walks of life, and you are just a beautiful soul. So I'm just so happy that you were able to knock it on the head, and here we are,
Here we are.
having this
The thing, Barrett, that that I concentrated on every day, and it was the one thing that I learned from the Joe Dispenza stuff, was live your life in the present moment, or live your future, as if it's already happening. So I was through the meditations, I was actually picturing myself well, happy, recovered. And that's what I was concentrating all the time. And I've tried to carry that through to where I am now. So, I'll picture something in a year's time. Or when Lisa and I moved to Scotland, we wrote down the date, put it on the fridge, and I just meditated on it and worked hard towards it. And the date came true on the fridge. So we were just living our future as if it was already happening. But that's what I learned from the meditation. So you can it's transferable skills.
Yeah.
Anyone can do this, if you really want something.
Talk to me a little bit about Scotland, because you're not Scottish, and what drew you to this part of the world, this particular region? What was the initial calling, do you feel, in your heart that was a magnet for you to go there?
Well, yeah, there's two parts to that. The first part, very quickly, is I was I think it was 2013. I needed to take a week off.
Yeah.
Well, I was forced to take a week off because I never used to take time off. And I just said, where should I go? And my business partner at the time, Paul, said, we've just got back from this place called Loch Shuna, which is in Crove Haven. It's about 40 minutes drive from here. And so I went, right, fine. And so I drove up, 7 hours drive. No computer, nothing, just my phone. Got to this beautiful, gorgeous big log lodge.
Yeah.
No light pollution, no noise, nothing. There was no internet. There was no phone signal. There was nothing. And I was almost forced to just drink it in, just sit outside, be by the sea, be by the water, be in nature. And I just built up this love affair with the place while I was there. And then Lisa and I came up here on a holiday in 2021. And halfway through the holiday, I'm looking around thinking, I just feel a resonance with this place. Like it's almost like a healer for me. Yeah. And I just said to Lisa, I said, There's no way that I'm not going to come back and live here. So that was in June 2021, and in February 2022 we moved here. So again, it's the same rule applies if you really want it and you live the future if it's already happening. But Scotland has got, when I say Scotland, it's the west coast of Scotland. It's completely different to the east coast of Scotland. It's magical. It's magical. But everybody who comes here forges their own relationship.
Yeah.
With Scotland. It's a very personal experience. It's quite, in a lot of ways, it's either like a religious or a spiritual experience, because when the penny drops, you just go, oh my God, I love it here. You know, it's special. So to live here is an incredible privilege.
Yeah. Yeah. No, well done. Well done. I've had the privilege to look into the areas that you know, it's really incredible place. Yeah. No, I was just feeling my way into our conversation, and I was just wondering, like, in terms of where you are at the moment, because you said some profoundly powerful sentences in reference to the beingness of this I am present, because you seem to be really grounded in terms of being really present. It's like you've taken full ownership and responsibility of your vessel, and it's privileged to act, you know, to sit with someone of this magnitude. In terms of where you want to go, I mean, where do you feel you're being navigated now on this planet now, in terms of what is happening on planet Earth with all these incredible Earth changes in terms of?
I've been concerned about a few things recently, in terms of, as much, without sounding like a hypocrite, as much as I have a relationship with this wonderful place, Scotland, I'm very concerned for the people here. I'm very concerned for the people in the UK.
Yes.
There are some turbulent times energetically. And I'm really concerned that the people aren't equipped or strong enough to get through things. And I had a conversation with Lisa some months ago, really, and I said, I think we've got travel on our horizons, and without frightening, this isn't to frighten anyone, this is just my feeling.
Yeah.
I think we might need to go away for a year or two, to re-energize and to do our work and to really concentrate on the things that we do elsewhere. So I see travel. I see different opportunities, different people to work with. In fact, because I've done a lot of work with people in the area, and I do think that I want to get back to working with people face to face rather than the internet. Actually sitting with people and teaching them different skills, working with animals, which is very important to me. Working with animals is everything to me, but helping people and helping get back to basics a little bit. You know, as you know, Lisa's an artist, but I'm certainly not an artist. But what I can do is go to different places and help people, you know, grow as a person, learn some skills, and then get out of the system so they can stand on their own 2 feet and do things for themselves. So I do see travel coming up in the next year or so, actually. So that's how I'm feeling. I just feel now that I've done a lot of work on the internet. I've done a lot of work reaching out to people across the world. I just feel now that it's probably time to go back to being sat next to someone or sat in a room with people and actually helping communities or groups of people. And that's probably going to involve traveling, which is absolutely fine.
Yeah, yeah. Do you feel that more and more people right now on planet Earth are coming more into the alliance of being more community orientated, where this? Yeah, I was going to
Yeah.
say, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm getting that sense
Mm,
because I do volunteer in some online groups,
yeah.
and people do seem to be warming again, understanding that you're stronger as a group of like-minded people rather than the struggle of being in your own, in a queue, being at the tube station, being on the bus, in a traffic jam. This rat race life. I think people are quite close to breaking up with that. I do sense that communities are coming to. I see it anyway. Communities are coming together, but the communities have changed. It's becoming less about, like the network marketing groups and whatever, when people are just kind of running into each other, trying to grab as much money as they can for themselves. I'm now sensing that groups of people are coming together to earn together, to share resources, to teach skills, and that's what I'm feeling at the moment. There's more of a family feel, a community feel coming back, and understanding that we can share resources, we can share energy and love, and actually do more and have a better energetic push because of it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I couldn't agree more, Adrian. I couldn't agree more. Where do you feel that people can connect more with like-minded people? Were you able to share certain links that you might have in terms of, what you can bring to the table in terms of connecting people, become more in alignment with what we're discussing right now? So creating community kind of work and to possibly creating some kind of support group.
Yeah,
I
yeah. Yeah, well, there are a couple of groups that I'm involved with that I volunteer for, but within those groups, we've been talking about how to expand them into what you've just said there,
Yeah,
because I understand that there's lots of different types of people that have got different types of careers, they've got different aspirations, they've got different backgrounds, they've got different skill sets. So I understand that there would be different types of groups that would reach out to people, or that they would reach out to. I do think
yeah.
they'll all come together in the end. But I mean, I've got a couple of links that I can send you. One of them is called End the Struggle.
And the struggle. Well,
But I'll send you the link to that.
yeah,
That we're growing the group now, where we have we have someone who helps with the improvement of mental health. So
yeah,
anxiety, panic attacks, those types of things. We have people that help with confidence. We have people that help with learning how to, let's just say, make some money on Amazon, or how to make a website, or how to brand yourself. So if you've got a special message, it's not about monetization. It's about just understanding that you can put your own message out there, talk about your day, talk about what's important to you, because
yeah,
then people resonate with that. So all of these little splinter communities can actually, from their embryo, from the genesis, you start to flower out, and like tree roots.
absolutely.
So we're building that out. So
Mm,
that's called End the Struggle, and we've
fantastic,
got
Adrian. Yeah.
14,000 members now, and it's about 5 weeks old. So it's building quite nicely.
And are you referring to the End the Struggle one, or this group? Fantastic. I'm very interested to see this, Adrian. Thank you for exposing that. Tell me, where does AI sit with all the progress? Because there was a time I was a little bit skeptical with it, but now, if you're not imposing on the freedom of others and you're not harming anyone, what's AI for you as a person? How do you see as a very powerful tool, right?
Well, like you, I was very skeptical. And then I started to do my own research, did some education on it, actually. So what I've learned, again, I always believe that is that when you actually look into something properly and the penny drops, for me, the penny drop using AI was for research purposes and for strategy or helping with strategy, because I was able to do more work in 2 hours than it would have taken me 5 weeks to do. But when I actually really started to learn how to use prompting with AI, and it's all about the prompts and using the prompts correctly, that if you use them with a very human language and a very human heart, you do tend to get information back that then you can translate yourself as a person and use those results. I mean, I've seen incredible art and music and videos done with AI, but they were only really good if the prompts were very human.
Absolutely.
And a lot of research went into the prompts. If you just ask it to do something very generic, you'll get a load of rubbish back. So I think it's going to be a very useful tool, but I would always encourage people to use it as a human.
I was going to say it's going to be a very powerful tool to end the struggle. And I was going to say, it's very fitting actually for the title of our show today, and the struggle. We kind of it's kind of presenting itself, because I always like to put some kind of title to the video link, if you will, and I'm if it resonates, I'm actually right now I'm actually drawn to this end the struggle. If I may, is it your baby in terms of end the struggle? No, it's not.
No, the community that I was invited to join, and then after a week, I was being so kind of involved in it that I was invited to be like a moderator or an admin.
Okay.
And no, it's not my baby at all, but I'm very much embracing it, and I'm very much a part of it. But I wish I had thought of it, but
no, that's fine. But I was going to say, do you have close ties with the founder of this individual who came up with this beautiful
so
title?
The gentleman who actually started the community is called Nick Rose. So Nick Rose, and Nick started a TikTok account up about 18 months ago, I think it was. After going through his own personal problems and his own trauma, and he called his TikTok "End the Struggle," and his TikTok channel grew to about 300,000, I think.
Wow.
And he started to use that followership to now grow this community and all sorts of amazing things. And I'm really privileged to be a part of it. I was really privileged to be asked, if I'm honest with you. So no, it's a chap called Nick Rose, who's End the Struggle. So I assist with them. I help with them.
No, that's very powerful, bro. Very, very powerful. No, that's very fitting. Now I was going to say also, in terms of, like, I always like to use this word what's the word again? Not intricate. Intrinsic. We'll get there in the end. Intrinsic value, because my understanding, where I ended a lot of my personal struggles, is took greater responsibility and care in terms of the kind of markers that we leave, because we leave a trace behind everywhere we go. And so I became more conscious of that. So I see myself as the real intrinsic value. Above and beyond that, you ignite people to become more connected, because what you were saying earlier in terms of people are having emotional, mental issues right now, because we are at a point in our human evolution to go a little bit deeper, but not too deep, but deep enough to ask these powerful questions in terms of like, what do I really want in my life? So how do you end the struggle in terms of understanding the essence of who you are, so that you become an individual, the kind of footprints that you leave. Is it toxic, for example? You know, if you're having issues inside, you may not be intentionally wanting to harm the environment, let's say. So how do you take greater ownership? Well, by paying attention to yourself, like you did in so many ways, in terms of like, you were flat out working really, many hours, and then suddenly the body kind of like almost shutting down and telling you you've got to take it easy. So you've had the extreme, and I'm so honored and privileged that you've done exceptionally well to come back to this place now where it's giving you the exposures that's mentally preparing you for this, let's say, not that we're going to restore humanity, but I feel that we're creating a new paradigm. This is where my gut feelings are in terms of creating a new paradigm where the community work and people coming together, not necessarily being in a place where we want to be dismantling anything, but really taking it higher, and being more compassionate. Now there is a musical side to you. I want to talk to you about that in a minute, but I would like to touch on something which you've touched my heart, reference to animals, because you are a great animal advocate. Because one of my ambitions is to create sanctuary for animals, where when we create shelters, I've had the opportunity to visit a few shelters in my time, and it's a very emotional place. And if I could create some place where you can create animal sanctuary, it should be very uplifting and very healing place. So I would like to do something like that with you, Adrian. I feel that we've come to a place where you sometimes question why people just appear in your life, or why you draw certain people, and I feel that that's one of the few things which I feel I'm very passionate about, and I think that we both resonate so dearly on that. Talk to me a bit about your passion as well, reference to animals and how it...
Well, as you know, I've got 2 rescue dogs, and but I've had dogs before, but in a previous relationship, and I went through a rescue situation with a little Norfolk Terrier called Benji, about 6 years ago. And the hoops that we had to jump through. This is in the UK, by the way. This is in England. And just in reference to what you were saying about that refuges should be a place of healing and calm. This wasn't. There were people streaming in and out. There were people just staring through cages. And these dogs are terrified. and and the whole process was it was just horrible. And it's no wonder. It's the statistic at the moment is there's 150,000 that we know of, 150,000 dogs that need homes in the UK. That's 150,000.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why that number is how it is because it's very difficult to actually to rehome these dogs because of the red tape, the difficulties that there are. And then when I rescued my current two, Roxy and Gracie. Well, Roxy's from North Macedonia, and Gracie's from Romania. And I rescued them through a little organization called Pause Project. And we had a few phone calls and stuff, and it went really well. It was very straightforward. And the girls were brought from where they were, looked after incredibly well, proper pet transport, looked after beautifully well. And we collected them, and it was that straightforward. They'd clearly been looked after, they'd clearly been cared for, but you could still feel that there was that decompression situation. It was more than the journey. You just knew that they'd been through probably a difficult transition. So the reason why I resonate a lot with what you're saying about the rescue centres or refuges should be a place of calm and love and healing.
Absolutely.
That's definitely what's missing, because my two are now okay. They're absolutely completely settled,
Thank you for sharing that. I mean, I find it mind-boggling why, because one of my abilities that I bring to the table, I like to simplify things, keep it very simple. And you can incorporate certain elements that can harness that. For example, like music. You can play healing music for starters. Why would you not want to? For starters, it's mind-boggling. Unless there's a bad agenda behind it, of course. But if there is a dark side to this, we can neutralize that and employ that. It doesn't cost a lot of money to employ that, for starters. And then we can look at certain structures. I'm a little bit into Feng Shui, for example. I understand about Qi and how the energy needs to flow. And it begins with self, fundamentally, because we are the ultimate projector. So to be able to siphon and to understand the essence of another being that's going through pain and struggle, you've got to empathize with the situation. And I'm not one of those people. I'm not very sympathetic. I'm not here. Being sympathetic isn't going to necessarily be a huge game changer, but I like to have an immediate impact to the nucleus of what's causing the problem. And it is a certain mindset, an attitude that needs to alter. And these sort of conversations that we're having, Adrian, it does help when people tune into beautiful, well-dialogued conversations like we're having right now, because it brings to the table the energy that's required to really start visualizing. Because for me, it's so important, because my operating system, if you will, I operate from abundance. It's a state of mind. It's not, I feel that this thing called scarcity, for me personally, doesn't exist. I can understand with some people, they are struggling, and they can end that struggle by being more connected, and to self fundamentally, to understand the essence of who you are and what you are. to grow stronger and to build a stronger immunity, and have less tolerance to things that are inorganic, shall we say. So no, I'm really excited. And tell me a little bit more about your musical background, because I know you've been into the theatrical, the theaters, and
Yeah.
was it please share with us your
Yeah.
musical.
So my first career was as a stage manager. So I was always in the company of writers, producers, actors, actresses, singers, songwriters, musicians. So I got to work with a wide sort of plethora of performers and writers and and artists as well.
Yeah.
I mean, from a young age, I was playing piano. I played some piano, some drums and stuff. But then it was really once I got into my sort of early teens, I started to buy records, and I collected records. I was a big vinyl junkie, and my thing was always electronic music. So that kind of brings us up to sort of fairly recently, where I basically use software to put soundtracks together, or to take one track and another track and put them together to make it sound like a completely different track. So I'm doing a lot of that at the moment, and I've just got my passion back for music. But I've also realized again the healing qualities of different frequencies.
Yeah.
Different frequencies can do different things. So
Sure.
there's a reason why certain notes and frequencies make you move, and there's a reason why certain notes and certain frequencies and chord sequences make you want to sit or make you feel emotional for no reason whatsoever. So
Yeah.
when you mentioned about having music on in around animals, I mean,
Yeah.
I used to look after 2 horses, and we always used to put classical music on in the stables at night time just to chill them out. Worked like a dream.
Absolutely, and it makes so much sense, doesn't it? To that would be like for me personally, the absolute fundamentals, having that there, and you can then incorporate certain, color therapy as well. I mean, there's so many different ideas that people can put into that, and not having them so tightly caged up as well, and having a structure where you see, do you feel that people generally have lost their passion towards this word caring, or is it do you feel that something happened? Because okay, humanity was under a lot of pressure not that long ago. We
Yeah.
were with this corona situation as well, and it left a bit of bitter aftertaste for many, and still a lot of people are struggling as a result of it. If I dare, I mean, it takes a lot of courage to ask certain questions, because you feel, how deep shall we go with this conversation? But if I may, did you and I don't want to put it out there that reference to the vaccines too much. This show is not all about that, but where were you with this vaccination? Did you entertain it for 1 second at all in your mind?
Not for a millisecond. So when I refused, well, the thing is, this is I like to use humor, so please find this as funny as you want. If I was going to refuse chemotherapy for cancer, and I went through that thought process and what have you, the reason why we pulled the television off the wall, and the reason why we stopped buying newspapers and got rid of the radio, was because of the horrific propaganda being thrown through every media channel possible. And it actually started to make me feel poorly again. So I was like, no. And then I started to get stress and pressure. about taking the vaccine, because their argument was, well, you've had this this problem with cancer. It's probably best that you have it. I says, well, if I'm not going to have chemotherapy, I'm not going to take an untested dangerous drug. So I said, no, absolutely not. However, I was living extremely rurally. I was living in like deepest Sussex in the beautiful south of the UK. It wasn't like I was in a city or in a town or lots of people around me. I was walking 4 and 5 times every day with the dogs because there was no one about. So it's important to say that my circumstances were different to those that probably felt, if they are completely surrounded by people in a city, they may have felt that they needed to take it. But no.
Do you feel, yeah, no, I mean, do you feel the fear-based energy that was around then, so we say, do you feel that it's been eradicated? Do you feel that it's been do you feel that people are now in better ownership, and they're becoming more responsible? Are they awake? Yeah, sorry.
No, sorry. Since the well, let's call it since 2020,
Yeah.
since the COVID year. I know it went to 2021, but I think because of 2020, I think a lot of people are feeling. I think a lot of people now are in possession of the facts. I think that's very important to say that. I think a lot of people are now more well versed in being concerned that they may have gone down that road. I think the fear factor couldn't have been any higher than it was in 2020 and part of 2021. I think now, people are wise to it. I think a lot more people are wise to it. I don't think everyone is, but I think more people are wise to it because of the things I hear in these communities. I see a lot of conversations. I hear a lot of opinions. And I'm just saying we're not falling for that again. We are sovereign beings. We're not doing this anymore.
Absolutely, brother. And do you feel that there is an element of accountability here? And I'm not one of those people that wants to point fingers, but at the same time, the temptation is there so that you can say, well, who orchestrated this genocidal movement? Because this was like a grand attack on humanity as a whole, and it didn't matter where you lived. It is a grand scale of things. Do you feel that there is a degree of accountability that will surface? Because nobody at the moment is, who's responsible for this? Who do you feel is who masterminded this event, and why? It's $1 million question, really, but it's a big one. This one, I didn't want to put a massive bomb in our conversation.
These are fascinating conversations to have, and in terms of where did it come from? Well, it probably came from the same medium-sized room full of people who run the pharmaceutical industries and all the other frighteningly horrible people who think they run the world. But these are the same people that own media companies. These are the same people who fund governments. These are the same people who own pharmaceutical companies. And how far can we push humanity? How can we force them to stay indoors? And it's not even a law. How far can we push these people? And we saw quite clearly how many people were petrified to go out. One good example, very quickly, a friend of mine. I won't name names, but a friend of mine used to be a mixed martial arts fighter, not a boxer. And mixed martial art. Have you seen those guys?
Yeah.
Right. So this guy was a very, very good MMA fighter. And in 2021, he stood outside a care home in the UK watching his grandfather die through the window, his beloved grandfather. He wouldn't even, they said he couldn't go in because of COVID.
Yeah.
This is an MMA fighter. Now, this is important that I use this context. This is what happened to people. They acquiesced with this, with social policing. This is a guy who could go 6 or 7 rounds in MMA and beat those people up, is now too weak to open a door and go and sit with his grandfather. Now, I'm not having a go at him. What I'm saying is this is what happened. This pushing down, this lack of energy, it just squeezed the life out of people. And when you're talking about accountability, we are all accountable for our own sovereignty. We are all accountable to say yes or no. So where are we in 2024? I think we're in a much better shape than we were in 2020, because if they try that again, I don't fancy the chances that much this time.
Do you, thank you for that, but do you feel that they've got more tactics up their sleeves, because they could come from different angles of situations? It's not to frighten people, it's just the dynamics of how they can orchestrate, because I was one of the very few people that and I lost a lot of friends in the process when reference to 9/11, for example. It never resonated with this situation. I felt that there was some kind of well, let's just say it, it was staged. I'm not frightened to say it, so a lot of things are staged. It's like a pantomime out there, and the more we energize it, the more we're going to allow it. So it's non-compliance is the best way forward. And sometimes it's much easier said than done. I get that, but like I said, the intrinsic value, we've got to look at this. Because there's a lot of divide and rule, and there's so many variables and labels out there that keeps us separated. And that's why I love this conversation and where it's leading, because creating communities and bringing people back to nature. Because where I live, and I think Lisa had a glimpse of that, I enjoy growing my own food. There's nothing more rewarding than to grow your own food, and also to have access to good quality water. It's very, very difficult to source nowadays. I appreciate that, but you can. So the pursuits for happiness, a state of mind, is for me the best medicine is being in with nature and animals, to have this companionship, to have this intimacy with nature and animals, and to embrace and to respect and to honor. This is how it should work, to understand there is a law in place, and this law is called natural law, not this artificial one that, you see, I'm not here to destroy or to dismantle or point fingers and say they're the bad guys and we're the good guys. I don't do that. But what I try to do, I don't try to do anything, but just being in my beingness, that people can feel that tone, so that even without words, my movement, is it toxic? Is it uplifting? Is it kind? Are we sensitive? These are, and to be in grace and harmonizing the toxicity. And I appreciate it. Must be very difficult for many people out there listening to this as well. If it's financial issues, or it could be a health issue, to help people to navigate and end the struggle once and for all. would be for me the most joyous occasion to be, you know, some kind of, you know, I wouldn't say mentor, but to be a model, an instrument where you are like a bridge. Because you can't tell anyone what to do. That's not how you should be doing. You should be an example, and executing your movement in such a way that people look at you differently, and they love your presence. They appreciate your presence, and they can't wait to see you again. It's a bit like you, Adrian, today, and I'd like to have the privilege of inviting you back, my lovely brother, in the foreseeable future, and having another dialogue. But I'm really excited. I'm really excited and honored, and also looking at ways using AI to create some kind of crowdfunding as well for creating the animal sanctuary places. We can use AI to help create a concept, a platform in which people with small amounts of donations can have not ownership, a guardianship responsibility with this. And we could strategize it in such a way that once we get some kind of providence in place, when people visit, not just this being a very powerful catalyst, but the concept is there for free, so people can take it away and they can emulate and share. You know, it's been exciting, brother. I mean, I'll you know, it's coming just to about an hour now, and I'm just thinking, like, to give you the last couple of sentences, paragraphs that you feel you want to say, but don't allow me to finish it off at the moment. I'm just testing the water.
I think it's, you know, we've covered a lot, which is always a good sign. I think what we've really kind of we've been really talking about the importance of nature and animals and going back to basics, but also making sure that you grow your own skill set and make sure that you can do different things, because you can still have your income streams. You can still learn the joy of building just some little income streams that you have done. So you have pride, you have self-love, you have confidence. You've got nature, you've got animals, you've got food you've grown, you've got your own water source. Got to be the perfect life.
Absolutely. And I drink to that, Adrian. It's been an absolute pleasure, Adrian. And I looked forward to connecting to your beautiful energy in the very near future. But in the meantime, sending you and your beautiful Lisa lots of love and hugs. And obviously to Roxy and Gracie, right? Got it.
That's right.
So blessings, brother. And thank you so much for showing up. And till we meet again. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Bioactivator would like to thank you for your kind support and donations. Through Barrett Tunian's guardianship of this platform, his activation of truth harmonizes, neutralizes, and unblocks the meridians that connect, balance, and purify all that comes in contact. Do no harm is the key that fully opens the heart's voice to be in the union of the I Am presence, and will represent every living organism on the planet whose voice would otherwise not be heard. Remember, the truth will set you free. Do no harm, cause no loss, and do not impose upon the freedom of others. Love, light, and